YouTube, I'm back with another video. Today I want to talk about how to hire your first virtual assistant. Now, most people are asking me how I was able to scale my business to 6 figures so quickly, and honestly, I got to give all my credit to hiring virtual assistants. But today I'm going to be breaking that down step by step. So as always, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and let's go ahead and hop straight into the video. All right, cool, y'all. So we're straight into the video. Today, I want to break down the steps that are really necessary. And I want to throw a disclaimer out here. I do talk kind of fast, so make sure that you're jotting down notes, taking notes on anything that I'm talking about that catches your eye or anything that you want me to elaborate on. I will go in more detail and more specific videos. My team actually is the reason why I created this video. So many people have been asking me about virtual assistants. How do I hire them? How do I find such good virtual assistants that are really good at what they do? I'm going to be breaking down that entire strategy today, piece by piece. So let's go ahead and hop straight into it. Number one is going to be understanding the industry that you are in. And I speak about this in all of my videos, but this is super important for hiring virtual assistants because you have to understand that when you're building a team, right? If you're the owner, right, of the company, you need to know the ins and outs of the industry that you are in. Why? Because you need to understand what the client needs from the very beginning all the way through to fulfillment. So let's use mine for example. As a life insurance agent myself, I know that you not only need leads, but you need training. You not only need leads and training, but you need a team. You not only need leads, training, and a team, but you need an environment that will continually help you improve, help you stay up to date, and stay aware of all things that are changing. Also, what is not typically in the industry is transparency, because as an agent myself, I know that I would buy leads from other sources and they never showed me what their ad copy would look like. They never showed me what the lead saw. It was very discreet, and that used to leave a bad taste in my mouth. Now, I know that there were other people that felt that way because I had conversations, and I would only know that because I was actually in the industry. So this is super important for hiring a team, because you need to be able to inform them of these things. You need to be able to find a way to distinguish yourself in your specific industry, right? So for life insurance, most people who were offering leads did not offer customer service reps. All they focused on was, here, just buy the leads and you can email support. And I've noticed that a lot of people just wanted to get in contact with support for small things. Hey, my CRM is messed up. Hey, I need to make some subtle adjustments here. Hey, I have a quick question. Nobody wants to sit here and email for one question. They want to be able to call. But these lead providers never had a way of doing that. So when I actually went into building the infrastructure, what was one of the first people that I decided to hire was a customer service rep, right? So before you get started hiring virtual assistants, you need to know, why are you hiring that person? So many people come to me and they say, hey man, I want to hire a VA. And I'm like, well, what are you hiring them for? Like, well, I just feel like, I'm super busy and I need to get my time back. Okay, that's great. I'm happy that you understand that. But what are the steps that we're going to take, and why are we taking these steps? Are we looking to hire? Everybody's like, I want to hire a social media manager. Well, social media manager for what? Do you need your time back? Are you posting quality videos and trying to engage with your audience so that way you can capture more leads? Are you posting things for entertainment? Are you just lazy and you don't feel like posting? To me, I don't think that you hiring a virtual assistant for the simple fact that you are too lazy to do a task is adequate. I think the moment that you know that you can gain your time back to do more valuable tasks is when you do need to hire a virtual assistant. So I always say, start out with copywriters, right? A lot of people are like, why? And here's my thought process. If you're going to hire virtual assistants from anywhere, and this is not about from the Philippines, I know that's where most of my team is, but you can hire virtual assistants from every country in the world. If you're going to hire virtual assistants, you have to understand that there may be a language barrier. So because there is a language barrier, there also may be a writing barrier. So when they are writing copy, when they're contacting customers, they may not grammatically say or spell sentences in the same way that we would here in America or in other countries, or even the representative country that you're talking from. You could be from a variety of different places. And if there's a language barrier, you're already putting yourself on the short end of the stick just because you're now not making the process very seamless. So when you go to hire copywriters, they tend to have very strong grammatical language that can typically fit with whatever country you're coming from, because that's what they do. They write email copy, text message copy, they create websites, SEO, etc. So those are the individuals that I would go for an admin. Now, there will be specific admin-based people, but if you're looking for somebody who's very well-rounded, I would highly suggest you start with copywriters. Their attention to detail is very good, right? So understand that you need to figure out, number one, and know your industry, okay? Because once you know the industry, you know what the industry needs. If you're just starting a business, or if you're just trying to hire virtual assistants and you don't really know what your business fulfillment needs, you're wasting your time. And if you're not wasting your time, you will burn your time trying to figure out who's going to be successful and then realizing that it doesn't work. And now you spent money and time that you cannot get back on a virtual assistant in an area that was not actually needed because you did not know your industry. So make sure you study your industry thorough, right? I would ask questions. So let's talk about action steps. I would ask questions to other individuals in your industry who you plan on servicing. Hey, what are some of the needs? What are some of the bottlenecks that you're running into? What are typically some of the main things that you don't feel like doing? Once you figure out what those are, you hire based on needs. You don't just hire based on what you want or what you think is important. You hire based on what you actually need and what will be able to get the job done. So that's number one. Now, number two that goes hand in hand is you need to actually list down the things that you want them to do. Strategy that I learned that was really simple was list out on a sheet, right? So you can get a sheet, draw straight down the middle, list out all the things that you currently do in your day-to-day, meaning you, and all the things that you want to do. All the things that you currently do, that's going to be the list of things that you hire first because you already know how to do them well. Now, most people will say, well, go hire the people for the things that you don't like doing or the things that you aren't doing. But the problem is that you have to teach these individuals how to do the job. And if you already don't like doing it, but you know how to do it, what type of attitude are you going to have? How are you going to approach it, right? You're not going to approach it the same way as something that you're good at. And you're going to be able to answer their questions and be able to smoothly teach them to become the highest percentage of effectiveness that they can in relative to you. So it's easier for you to teach them things that you're already good at. So on that sheet, you have a list of things that you currently do, a list of things that you want to do. Now, once you hire somebody, you want to take all those lists of things that you do and break them into blocks. And the way I look at them is write down how long it takes you to accomplish those things. So let's say it's cold outreach, sales calls, and creating websites, right? Just making something up. Those are a list of things. Let's say that takes you typically 4 hours. All right. And then you have another 4 hours in your day. Let's say you work 8 hours on your business, just typical 8 hours. Then you have another 4-hour block where you are posting on social media, you're creating content, and you are asking for referrals. Okay. So now that's 8 hours. So you know that typically takes you 8 hours to complete all those tasks. So what I would do is I would say, okay, you know that hiring somebody, they're not going to be as fast and effective as you. So you need to estimate that for every task you do, I would add an extra, 30 minutes to an hour minimum, especially, and that's down the line. So when they first get started. And now you can kind of start thinking about what can you hire people for? Rather than thinking hiring people specifically for one job, think about just hiring the best people. Go find the best individuals. When I talk to you in the next few steps about how to hire, you're going to be looking for the right type of people. If you find the right type of people, the job will get done, especially if it's not a task that requires a high level skill set. It just requires you to just implement and do things, which if you are focusing on things that you are currently doing, you'll probably be really good at teaching them. So you don't have to worry about going to find a master of a specific skill. And it's going to be the first step that you need to do. After you've created your list and you've assessed the time blocks that it takes you to accomplish the task, separate that into 8 hours. The moment you get an 8-hour time span based on how much work they can do, right? So if it took you 8 hours to do those things, it's probably going to take them, 12 hours. So that may be a job for almost 2 people. So what you then need to do is you need to now realize that one of those can be somebody you can hire, okay? One person can fulfill a task for 8 hours. So now that you've blocked it out, you know that you can hire one individual. And that's how I would go into starting to hire a virtual assistant rather than trying to go look for a specific position. Because once again, you are going to be teaching them things that you know. You're not hiring them for things you do not already do, because that's how you're gonna have the most effective virtual assistant. So lead me to my next step. All right, cool. Now, so you've already assessed the virtual assistant that you're going after because you're a master in the industry and you understand the industry. You set up time blocks and you know how long it takes for you to do tasks, and you've listed all the things that you do and that you would like to do, and you start breaking those up into specific jobs based on the 8-hour time block that they would typically be working. Now, the next thing is you're gonna actually create SOPs for those tasks that you do. Now, typically we don't need SOPs because we just do things naturally. If you're in your business at this point watching this video and you're preparing to hire a virtual assistant, or even if you're starting a business, you should already have a normal code of how you go about your day, right? You go on Instagram, you say this, you say that, you DM this person, you post your content this way. Well, remember, a new person getting onboarded, you can't just say, go post content. They're gonna be like, what does that mean? Well, post at 4 o'clock. Okay, well, what am I posting at 4 o'clock? We'll post a personal picture at 4 o'clock. Okay, so what's the caption supposed to be? Should I use filters? Should I not use filters? Should I use a video? Oh, post on my story. These are all relative things. They need to be taught. So you naturally do them because that's what you do. But now you need to actually sit down and break down every single step that you take from beginning to end and create that into SOP. An easy way that I like to do it is all you have to do is when you break down those things that you do, take one task and then just complete it. But I want you to complete it as if you've never done it before. Complete it as if you're telling a third grader how to actually do it. So you'll say, hey, here's how I design a website. I go to Go High Level. I open up the website tab. I click new. Once I click new, it gets opened up. I start with adding headers. Then from there, I add forms. Then I add buttons. Then I go to mobile. Walk through the steps. You can't say, hey, create a website, go to Go High Level, build it out, blah, 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 throw the link in. They don't know that. So if you don't have a very clear SOP, regardless of how high level they are, if they've had previous experience, you don't have clearly laid out SOPs. This got me in trouble when I first started. I hired people that were probably relatively good, talented, but I did not lay out clear SOPs. So when problems came, we had nothing to refer back on. It was just like, well, I told you. And they're like, yeah, you told me, but you never really gave me a system or a standard operating procedure of how to actually do something. This is the most overlooked aspect of any business. I firmly believe that's one of my friends. He owns restaurants. He told me that one of the key components to having a successful restaurant and why so many people do not get into the industry and fail is because they are not actually good at creating SOPs. And I think that stands for all businesses, but for the restaurant industry, it's probably even higher. And I'm not in that industry, but this is just the information that I've gotten to understand that a successful business needs to have strong SOPs for when things go right and when things go wrong, because it can track what they're currently doing for the progression and for the regression to know, okay, we didn't do this right. But otherwise, you're just throwing things against the wall. And when things go well, you're like, well, I don't know. And when things go bad, you're like, well, I don't know. And then you have no real way to understand how you're supposed to scale or how you're supposed to make adjustments. So make sure that you develop these SOPs. And now we're going to get into the part that everybody wants to know, which is actually hiring the virtual assistants. All right, cool. So the next step is going to be to understand the platforms, right? So there's Fiverr, Upwork, and OnlineJobs.ph and Facebook, right? Now you can use anything. You could probably go on Instagram. There's a variety, but these are the most prominent ones. Now, personally, if you guys have watched any of my videos, you all know that I love OnlineJobs.ph because I love the Philippines. That's where I get all of my virtual assistants from. But you can use Fiverr and you can use Upwork to go find virtual assistants in any other country in the entire world for relatively good prices and great work. And I'm not biased. I'm just speaking about what I actually know. Well, I can tell you that all these platforms have the same exact concept. And follow me. You are going to go on there looking for expert talent to fulfill the needs of the list of things that you are good at first. This is how to hire your first virtual assistant. So you're going to list out all the things that you're already doing, that you're already good at. So do not go onto these platforms trying to look for the greatest person in the entire world. You're looking for expert talent, people who can fulfill the job requirements that you have listed. So when you go on these platforms, they're all the same. You're either going to search or you're going to do a posting. I would recommend that you do a posting because once again, we are not searching for a specific role. I don't want you to just type in a social media designer. I said that a preference that you'd be looking for is copywriter, but you're not going to just go type in copywriter or type in social media or type in automation and go look for people. You want to create a job posting because you want to actually create the person that you want to attract to your business. So when you go to this job posting, number one, I suggest that you create a specific job title that sounds very appealing. Don't just say copywriting position, social media manager. No, say outbound specialist and graphic designer. That sounds way more appealing than copywriter and social media designer. It's like, what is that, right? So you want to sound appealing, first of all. Second of all, you don't want to sound too generic in your subject line and the position title because it's going to entail more than just being a copywriter and social media designer. You may have 1 to 2 hours of copywriting social media, but then you may have a little bit of website design, some outreach. They're like, hold on, I'm not good at this. And you're going to attract the wrong people. But if you have the right title, now they're actually going to read it and they're going to be looking for what you're actually posting. So from there, be very descriptive. I would use AI, use Bard, ChatGPT. There's going to be hundreds more by the time, people watch this video years to come. But I would literally just go look up an AI prompting and I would type in all the things. Once again, you've listed all of them. So now you have all the stuff. You have all the things and all the SOPs. And you're going to say, create a job post and create a job title for somebody that does all these things. And here are their SOPs. And then from there, you want to put the payment. So how much are you going to actually pay them? Now, pricing will change as time goes on. As of 2024, the average pay per day in the Philippines is like $10 to $13, I think, per day. Okay. So you can break that down into hours. That could be $2 an hour. It could be $3 an hour, right? It could be $4 an hour, however you want to pay them. I pay all my employees on salary, but that's just the way that I choose to do it. I know a lot of people do hourly pay as well, but that is what you're going to use the platforms for to actually do the posting. Now, a few key points that are typically people don't actually analyze. When you're writing the copy of the posting that you're doing, make sure that when you ask people to respond to you, that you tell them to email you. Don't just respond on the platform. It's so easy easy to just click reply. You're gonna have so many people that are just, okay, apply. It's gonna waste your time. Put in there, email. I would create a separate email. Just go to Google, Yahoo, wherever, create a separate email address and just saying that, hey, email me, and put in the subject line, email me all your information I'm looking for. I would ask for a video recording and an audio recording. I'd ask for 2. And then I would also ask for their resume, and I'd tell them to put in the subject line exactly what you're looking for. Here's why you do that. Because if somebody cannot follow those simple instructions, why are you hiring them? If they just send you a video, they'll send you an audio, I'm not even looking at it. They send you audio, not a video, I'm not looking at it. If they just send me their resume, I'm not looking at that either. Why would I look at it? You cannot follow simple instructions on day one. Not even day one. When you get started, not even when you get started, actually. Before you get started, you can't come to the interview prepared. How are you gonna be prepared when the opportunity presents itself and you're actually working? You're not. So I'm gonna just not even look at your resume. I'm not even gonna take you on. So it's gonna trim down how many applicants you have. Because let's say you would have had 100 people apply, right? If you would have had it on the platform, 100 people would have responded. Okay, let's take another step. If you would have just had people email you, let's say 50 people responded. Now you're gonna only have 20 or 15 people respond because they're gonna email you and they're gonna have the correct subject line with all the information. So if they can't follow instructions, why are you wasting your time with that? So that's how you use the platforms to actually get the clients. So we're moving to the next step. So the next step is important, but in my opinion, it's not as important as the step before, even though popular belief, they want to say you want to interview properly. If you've done everything I've listed so far, you're only going to have a certain type of people that are actually going to apply for their job. And that's what you're looking for. Okay. So by the time you get to the interview, right, which should be held on Zoom, Google Meet, whatever platform that you're using, and you're going to tell them, hey, here are all my questions. You could just look up, interview questions. I used to tell people to do a test, but honestly, with the new method of having people put their subject line, having people be a very descriptive resume, including that, so like having everything be very detailed, certain people aren't gonna apply because they're not gonna wanna waste their time. They're gonna be like, I'm not qualified for this position. And you wanna look for those few people. You should realistically only have like 4 or 5 people that are legit, potential candidates. If you can do that, you're putting yourself in the position to know like, okay, I'm gonna have somebody good. And by the time you get to the interview, you're gonna ask them a few questions. One of the key ones gotta be, are you working full-time or part-time? A lot of virtual assistants from everywhere in the country will try to get, or around the world, will try to get as much work as they possibly can. And hey, I don't blame them. I can't knock the hustle. But if you want to work with me, or i.e. however you guys want to do it, you should ask them on the front end, if you know that this 8-hour shift, I'm gonna need you to really be locked in, then I think it's very important that you actually only hire people that are working full-time. If they say they want to work part-time, that's cool, but you're gonna get part-time effort, part-time result. That's just me. I would need you all in full-time. Now, if you can work full-time and do your little thing on the side, but you still get the job done, hey, cool with me. The other thing I would say in the interview is make sure you set your standard, right? For me, it's communication and execution. That's what I care about. But for you, it can be whatever it is. Make sure you have that written down before you go in the interview, because that is kind of the posture that you want to communicate with them on, which is, this is what I'm expecting, right? You list down all the expectations, list the pay. I highly suggest that in the interview, you explain to them that once you get onboarded, your first month is going to be an evaluation period where you do not pay them full pay. So let's say you're paying them $3 an hour. Once they get hired, you say, I'll pay you $2.50 or I'll pay you $2 an hour for the first 30 days because I need to see how you work, right? So it's 3 ways you can go. Then I learned this from my mentor. Number 1, you made us better, you're staying. Number 2, we stay the same. We're gonna keep evaluating you, but if you keep us staying the same, we're gonna have to get rid of you. And number 3, you made us worse, and you gotta go, right? And it's very, very simple. It's an easy metric to look at. And if you feel like they've come into your company, and if you have the SOPs, and if you have the actual data to track, you can tell whether or not they've made your business better. And that's gonna be a simple way for you to gauge on the front end. And you ask them these interview questions to let them know, here's what it is. If they look nervous, if they're like, whoa, wait, what? Then that might not be the person for you, right? And you need elite talent. Like I said, you need elite talent because you've already done the job on the front end. If you went through the steps I've explained and created solid infrastructure. So once they get in the door, you know they're gonna be good. You just need them to be hardworking, pay attention to detail, and be willing to improve and grow and offer innovation. You don't want robots. You want people that can actually offer innovation to help you grow. All right, so I'm hopping to the next step from here. All right, so the last thing is actually the onboarding. So there's a few quick tips. You can use Wise Bank. I use Pioneer. You can use PayPal to actually pay these virtual assistants. I use Trello and Slack and WhatsApp to communicate. I think it's very seamless. WhatsApp is almost like texting or calling if you were a worker here, right? So you wouldn't do a lot of business talk on there unless it was just like something you needed done immediately. Trello is like an organizational board. You walk into the office at the beginning of the day, it has everybody's lists and assignments up there. And when people need stuff done, you just pin it. It's beautiful. I started using it about 1.5 years ago and it's saved me, I can't even explain how much it saved. And then from there you got Slack, right? That's internal communication. We use it to actually communicate communicate with our clients. So the clients and my team can communicate. So it's 3 platforms. One's all internal, one's with clients and internal. And then the last one is just seamless communication, good morning, etc. with the rest of the team. So I hope this video helps y'all. I went a little bit longer than I normally do, but like I said, it's a full breakdown. If you guys want me to go in depth on one specific topic, please let me know. This was just more of like an overview. So we've been hiring virtual assistants for 2 years now. It's how I've been able to sustain my business while still playing in the NFL. They are more than a help. They really mean a lot to me. I truly appreciate them. And if you all don't have virtual assistants, I'll highly suggest that you get some. Obviously, if you can afford to pay for local workers in your respective country, that's good too. I personally don't feel the need to do that. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but that's just what I prefer. I think I'm pretty good at training people, and I think that you all are too. This is not a, I'm better than you, I'm not better than you. If we do the first few steps and just analyze and time block and then write out the SOPs, you can hire anybody to be successful. But a lot of people just want to go, they want to skip all those steps and just go to the posting and then go to the interview. And in my previous videos, which I'm learning, I was teaching it that way, and that's on me. So this is why I wanted to re-record this video and offer this to you all, because this is actually like the foundational blueprint. You got to lay it out before you even start writing out the job description. Because I found now that some of my virtual assistants I hired, when I first started, I'm having them do more tasks because I didn't know that they could get more done because I didn't block it off and I didn't do those steps that I gave you guys. So anyways, as always, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. All right, peace.